The transport shuttle came down slowly through the purple sky of Oronox Prime. It was quiet at first. Then the entire academy began to watch. Students gathered behind tall glass walls that reached from floor to ceiling. Some stood on desks. Others recorded with hollow devices. Even teachers paused their lessons. The human had arrived. Rumors had been spreading for weeks. A student from Earth, a real deathworlder. The shuttle touched the landing platform with a soft hiss. Steam rose around it. The doors opened. For a moment, no one stepped out. The silence felt heavy. Then she appeared. A small human girl with dark hair tied back. She carried a simple school bag over one shoulder. No armor, no visible weapons, no bodyguards. Her name was Maya Carter. She looked normal, too normal. Some students frowned. That's her? She's tiny. That's the dangerous species? Earth had a reputation in the galaxy. It was listed as a Class 12 death world. Unstable weather, violent oceans, strong gravity, dangerous animals, constant natural disasters. Most species would not survive 1 week there. But humans were born there. They grew up there, and they adapted. Maya stepped onto the platform and looked around calmly. Her eyes moved slowly across the tall towers and shining metal bridges of the academy. Oronox Galactic Academy was proud of one thing: safety. It trained the children of admirals, scientists, and planetary leaders. There had never been a serious fight inside its walls. No weapons were allowed. No student had ever been hospitalized. Peace was normal here. Until now. 2 security drones floated down beside Maya. They scanned her quietly as she walked. Precaution only, one teacher whispered, but everyone knew the truth. They were afraid. Inside the main hall, whispers followed her like wind. Humans survive poison air. They break bones easily. They enjoy fighting. They feel less pain. Some of the younger students moved out of her path. Maya did not react. She did not walk fast. She did not walk slow. She simply walked. In the central classroom, the instructor cleared his throat. Students, this is Maya Carter. She is part of the Human Exchange Program. She will study here for 1 cycle. The room was silent. Then someone laughed. It came from the back row. Kale. He was tall, blue-skinned, and broad-shouldered. His family commanded battle fleets. He was strong, confident, and used to being the center of attention. He leaned back in his chair and looked at Maya carefully. "She is small," he said loudly. A few students laughed with him. Maya chose a seat near the window. She placed her bag down and folded her hands on the desk. She did not answer. That made Kale narrow his eyes. He expected anger or fear. He saw neither. At midday break, the cafeteria was louder than usual. Students watched her from a distance. No one sat at her table. Maya ate quietly. Kale stood up from his group and walked toward her. 4 of his friends followed. He carried something heavy in his hands, a gravstone. It was a training block used in strength class. On most planets, it adjusted to local gravity and became extremely heavy. Even strong students needed both arms to lift it. Kale dropped it in front of Maya's table. The sound echoed. "Lift it, deathworlder," he said. The cafeteria became completely silent. Even the kitchen staff stopped moving. The gravstone was set to Academy standard gravity, light for most alien species, but for a human? Earth gravity was stronger, much stronger. Maya looked at the stone. Then she looked at Kale. Her face showed no anger, No fear, only calm. She stood up slowly. Some students stepped backward. She reached down with one hand and lifted it, easily. The ground beneath her feet cracked slightly. Leaves from the alien trees were forced down flat against the soil. One of Kale's friends stepped back, surprised by the force. Most species would collapse instantly under that pressure. Bones would snap, organs would fail. Maya's knees bent slightly. Her shoes pressed deep into the ground, but she did not fall. Her breathing slowed, her eyes focused. Kale frowned. "That's not possible," one of his friends whispered. On Earth, gravity was stronger than most planets in the galaxy. Human muscles and bones were built for it. Maya adjusted her stance. Then she stood straight again, slowly, calmly. The gravestone trembled in Kale's hand. Anger replaced his confusion. He rushed forward and shoved her hard. That was his mistake. Maya moved, not fast like lightning, not wild, just controlled. She caught his wrist mid-air. Her grip tightened. There was a sharp cracking sound. Kale screamed and dropped the gravity device. It rolled across the stone floor and shut off. The heavy pressure vanished instantly. Kale fell to his knees, holding his arm. She had not broken it, but she had twisted it enough to remind him how close she could have been. The other 4 students reacted together. One lunged with sharp claws extended. Another fired a small energy pulse from a wrist device. A third used his tail to strike her legs. The 4th tried to grab her from behind. Maya moved with careful precision. She stepped aside from the claws. She caught the tail and redirected its force. She ducked under the energy pulse. She shifted her weight and used simple momentum. In less than 5 seconds, all 4 attackers hit the ground. One groaned. One gasped for breath. One lay flat, staring at the sky in shock. The last one tried to stand, but fell again. Maya did not punch wildly. She did not shout. Every movement was clean, measured, controlled. She stepped back and looked at them. Her breathing was steady. Her face showed no anger, only quiet disappointment. Kale looked up from the ground at Maya. For the first time, fear replaced his pride. Maya spoke softly. "You should not test gravity against someone born in it." The words were not loud, but they felt heavy. She picked up her bag from where it had fallen. She adjusted the strap on her shoulder. For a moment, she looked at them, not with hate, not with revenge, but with calm warning. Then she turned and walked away. Behind her, the 5 students remained on the ground, not dead, not bleeding badly, but completely defeated. Moments later, security drones rushed into the garden ring. They scanned the scene. They recorded every detail, every movement, every second. The footage would travel through the academy before nightfall, and by morning, everyone would know. The human girl had not started the fight, but she had ended it, and Oronox Academy would never feel the same again. The next morning, Oronox Galactic Academy did not feel the same. The halls were quieter. Students were not laughing as loudly. Every screen inside the academy showed the same recording. The garden ring, the gravity spike, Kale falling to his knees, Maya standing calm in the center. Again and again they watched the moment she could have ended everything, but didn't. "She did not attack first," one student whispered. "She waited. She held back." The footage clearly showed it. She reacted only after they attacked her, and even then, she stopped before real damage was done. For many students, that was more frightening than strength.
The teachers were disturbed, not because of violence, but because of control. Maya was called to the High Council chamber before midday. The chamber was large and circular. Floating lights moved slowly across the ceiling. The academy crest glowed in the center of the floor. 5 council members waited. Different species, different worlds, all watching her carefully. The headmaster, a tall silver-skinned elder, studied her in silence. "You understand why you are here," he said calmly. "Yes," Maya replied. Her voice was steady, no fear, no anger. The headmaster activated the projection. The fight played in the air between them. Slow motion, every movement clear. "You could have killed them," he said.
3 days passed after the fight in the garden ring. The academy tried to return to normal. Classes continued, students whispered less. But something had changed in the air. Then the alarm screamed. It was not a small warning, it was a full emergency signal. Red lights flashed across every hallway. The peaceful sound of the academy was replaced by sharp mechanical sirens. Students froze. Teachers looked at their wrist screens. One message appeared everywhere. Unknown vessel entering orbit. The large glass dome above the academy turned dark as defense shields activated. Outside, in the sky, a long black ship cut through the clouds. It did not carry trade signals. It did not request permission. It opened fire. The first explosion shook the outer shield. The entire building trembled. Some students screamed. "Pirates," a teacher whispered. "Not small criminals, not teenage bullies, professional raiders. The kind that attacked research stations and remote colonies. The kind that did not show mercy." The defense shields flickered again under heavy fire. Security forces from the nearby city were alerted, but they were too far. The academy was alone. In the central hall, panic spread quickly. Students ran in all directions. Some cried. Some tried to call their families. Teachers rushed to lock classroom doors. Emergency barriers slid down from the ceiling. Maya stood near the center of the hall. She did not run. She looked up through the dark glass dome at the burning sky. She had seen worse. Storms on Earth that tore cities apart. Wildfires that swallowed forests. Sirens that meant real danger. Her breathing stayed steady. Kale ran toward her, his face pale. "They're boarding," he shouted. Another explosion shook the academy. The entrance wing collapsed inward with a loud crash of metal and glass. Smoke filled the air. Heavy boots stepped through the broken walls. The pirates entered. They were tall, wearing dark armor, carrying plasma rifles. Their helmets hid their faces, but their laughter echoed through the hall. They were not afraid. They saw only children. One pirate fired a warning blast into the ceiling. Energy sparks rained down. "On the ground!" he shouted in a harsh voice. Students dropped in fear. Another pirate grabbed a small alien child by the arm and lifted him easily. The child screamed. That was enough. Maya moved. Fast. Faster than she had moved in the garden ring. Her bag dropped to the floor. She sprinted forward before Kale could react. One pirate turned his weapon toward her. Too slow. She kicked the rifle aside. It fired into the wall. She struck his armored chest with controlled force. Even through the armor, the impact knocked the air from his lungs. He crashed into a pillar and fell unconscious. The second pirate aimed at her back. Kale shouted a warning. Maya ducked. The energy blast hit the gravity control panel on the wall. An idea formed instantly in her mind. She jumped and hit the emergency gravity switch. The gravity in the hall increased suddenly. Not 10 times, but enough. The pirates staggered. Their armor was built for space combat, not high gravity pressure. Maya adjusted easily. Earth gravity had trained her body since birth. She grabbed the pirate holding the small child. With one sharp movement, she forced his arm down and pulled the child free. The pirate tried to punch her. She stepped inside his guard and drove her shoulder into his chest. The heavy gravity helped her. He slammed into the floor and did not rise again. The third pirate charged her with a blade. She picked up a broken metal chair, used it as a shield, blocked the strike, twisted his wrist. The blade fell. One quick strike to his helmet. He collapsed. Two remaining pirates looked at each other. Their confidence was gone. They had heard stories of deathworlders, stories of monsters from high-gravity planets. Now they saw the truth. Not a monster, a protector. One pirate ran toward the exit. The other hesitated only 1 second too long. Maya stepped forward, her eyes steady. He dropped his weapon. When Academy security finally arrived with full armor and weapons ready, they stopped in shock. 5 pirates lay on the ground, unconscious, disarmed, defeated. Students slowly stood up from where they had hidden. They stared at Maya, not with fear this time, but with something else. Understanding. The human girl had not started the danger, but when real danger came, she was the only one who ran toward it. And in that moment, the Academy finally understood what true strength looked like. 3 days after the pirate attack, Orinox Galactic Academy gathered in the central hall. The broken walls had been repaired, the cracked floor in the cafeteria was fixed, the gravity systems were stable again. But the students were not the same. They stood quietly under the tall glass dome, no whispers, no laughter, only respect. At the center of the hall stood the headmaster and the High Council. Maya stood in front of them. She wore the same simple uniform, no armor, no medals, just calm eyes. The headmaster stepped forward. His voice echoed across the hall. "This gathering is not for punishment," he said clearly. "It is for truth." The large screen behind him showed footage from the pirate attack. Students watched again as the pirates broke through the walls. They saw the moment a small alien child was grabbed. They saw Maya run forward. They saw her fight, not with anger, not with rage, but with purpose. The headmaster turned to the students. "Strength is not loud," he said clearly. "It does not bully. It does not mock. It does not seek to prove itself." He paused. "Strength protects." The words felt heavy in the silent hall. Many students lowered their eyes. They remembered the cafeteria, the gravestone, the laughter. Kale stepped forward from the crowd. His arm was fully healed now, but his expression had changed. He no longer walked with pride. He stopped a few steps away from Maya. For a moment, he hesitated. Then he bowed slightly. It was not a deep bow, but it was real. "I was wrong," he said. His voice was steady but honest. Maya looked at him. She did not smile. She did not look proud. She simply nodded once. "No more testing," she said calmly. Kale almost smiled. "No more," he answered. The silence in the hall felt different now, not heavy, peaceful. Other students stepped forward slowly. One of the smaller students, the one Maya had saved, stood near her. He looked up at her with wide eyes. "You are not scary," he said softly. Maya looked down at him. "That's good," she replied, because she never wanted to be feared. She only wanted to be ready. From that day forward, no one called her weak. No one called her monster. No one whispered deathworlder like it was an insult. They used new words: guardian, protector, friend. In classrooms, students no longer avoided her table. In training sessions, they asked her questions. How do humans stay calm? How do you control your strength? How do you stand when others fall? Maya always gave simple answers. We practice, we learn, we remember the cost of losing control. The story of the pirate attack spread beyond the academy, across nearby systems, across the sector. Other species watched the footage. At first, they focused on her strength. Then they focused on something else: restraint. She stopped when the pirates were down. She had not chased the one who ran. She had protected first, fought second. The galaxy once feared humans because they were strong, because they came from a violent world, because they survived storms and wars. But now they understood something greater. Humans were not dangerous because they were strong. They were dangerous because they knew exactly how much damage they could cause, and chose not to. Weeks later, Kale sat beside Maya during a strategy class. Not behind her, not across the room, beside her. "You could have broken my arm," he said quietly. "Yes," she answered. "Why didn't you?"
She looked at him for a moment. Because you needed a lesson, not a scar. Cale nodded slowly. That answer would stay with him for the rest of his life, and that is why they regretted attacking her. Not because she hurt them, not because she defeated them, but because they learned too late. She was never the danger. She was the shield standing between them and real danger. And the most powerful being in the room was the one who chose not to break it.